All right, so this is an overview of the results from the solution validation around presenting branch rules as a read-only thing. So we did 2 rounds of solution validation. The first round was to get an understanding of displaying the information, and then we did a quick follow-up to make some adjustments to the UI and use solution validation to check if those changes that we made that were raised up in round 1 would be mitigated quickly, so that we can move forward with the UI direction for displaying branch rules. So I'll go through the different prototypes that we've run through. What we normally use for solution validation is we use something called user testing to get participants in, and we create our scripts and tests through here. So I will run like one one session at the beginning, just to make sure that the test works well and the questions make sense to users. So sometimes I may adjust a few things around inside the questions on the first round to get an insight of, if things make sense. And here we also have a screener. So this is what we use to filter for people who actually work with protected branches and things like that. So this is user testing, and then we get a result back from users through here. And then I use a tool called Dovetail to then analyze and go through and tag the different sessions for points that the participants made and things like that. And then as a result from that, I generate these insights, and these insights are then carried over to the issue so that it's easily searchable for anyone. But if you want to view the video, so if you wanted to see the details of this one and you want to watch that detail, you can click play and then watch those specific scenes by clicking on insight through there. So the prototypes we ran through for round 1 was get an understanding of what people get out of this, and this is where we got the idea of we should bring over the protected and default badges over. So that was good. Here I wanted to see if people understood how to use protected branches as it is currently. So the way we present the selected roles, groups, and users inside these drop downs, and if it's clear to users how this all works. So the idea was for people to click on this and to see what the answers were in here, just to get their general feedback. And then to contrast that with this layout of all the branch rules, this is one of the prototypes, and we just asked people to go through seeing they understand this. And then we also followed up with a version like this where they navigated from here, from this view over into here. And the idea here is seeing if they notice like the matching branches. Overall, this layout people didn't like compared to our current protected branches, just because the way things are laid out, it's actually harder to parse like this. And then I asked about this list, if there's any information that's missing here. Some people suggested that there should be some kind of details, because without any kind of information here, you would have to dig into details for each one to see. Some people suggested a badge like the default or protected, and others suggested more information at this level so that it can give them a little bit more context of what they want to click on, rather than blindly click on details. And then one scenario that came up was someone said that sometimes if they're updating branch rules, they might do something on a Tuesday or Wednesday, and they ask someone else to double check or follow up, they can use the details there to understand, what's different at this high level. Maybe one has one more approver than the other, and that will give them a clue of where to go to. And the final example here was just to sense check to see if we displayed something like this and asked people to edit or change the approvals, what would they click on, and is it what they expected? So the idea here is click on here would take you to the merge requests. Whether we can scroll right down to this is to be determined, but the idea that you can navigate to a merge request or where it is currently in general, the merge request approvals section, and then from here people are like, oh, okay, I was doing feature stars, so then I'll click on that to edit those rules. Like I said, we did a quick follow-up to double check on the listing of the branches, so adding details in there to see if that would be something that's well received, and also updating the layout of the branch details. So if we go to not this one. So for the follow-up part, we did round 2. If I press play on that, we jump into a smaller test. We only asked 3 questions. The first one was to get a sense check of this to see if this made sense to people, and if they clicked on and people could understand that yes, this made sense, and it gives them a good overview of what's going on. Clicking on to here gave them more detailed. We laid out things kind of horizontally and vertically, so you can see from a scannability standpoint what are the roles, who are the users. This layout was, no one complained about this layout, and the fact that we actually put a label on top of this checkbox before it used to be just a checkbox alone. People did notice that, oh, there is a force push setting. When we just asked them just to list off all the rules that you see set here. So when people saw that, they're like, oh, okay, cool, I see that happening. And then we proposed this scenario for people where this is the current layout and someone's proposed to simplify the layout with layout B. How would that change your role? 3 out of 5 people actually still preferred layout A. One person who preferred B, but called out A, saying it does make sense why someone would want to see something like this, but they preferred the streamlined approach of something like layout B more, just because that's their preference. And this could get cluttered in their opinion. I think this is something that we can try to start off with, and then if it becomes too troublesome or not useful for people, and that's the scenario where I would say, cool, and let's remove it. But I think moving forward, we should go with this because it does give people an idea of which rule they actually want to dive into. So back to the solution validation, that's how you can look at this. You can go through each of the insights here. I added some of the screenshots of the things that we tested here. And I think it was good because we have a good direction of where we want to take our designs. Not really minimal, not really complex, but actually we landed somewhere in between. So I think this is a good result for the solution validation. And yes, if you have any questions or details, please feel free to leave comments inside this issue. Thank you.